Hey guys, how we doing? Um, I wanted to do a video today talking about livestock guardian dogs and how you introduce them to your house dogs. Um, so if you've been following with us, you know that this is a really busy season right now. We're in lambing and kidding season. And I really wanted to answer this question, but I don't have a lot of time to make it aesthetically perfect or pleasing even, which honestly I've never obviously cared about in any of my other videos, but you're going to get me multitasking this morning because I really want to address this because I've had a lot of people ask me about this. I'm kind of surprised I've never covered it before. But so the question is, I'm going to get an LGD, and how do I introduce them to my house dogs? Do they get along with house dogs? How does that work, and what does that normally look like? And I always want to preface this by saying that what I'm referring to are just generalizations about the breed or the type, which is a livestock guardian dog. I also like to err on the side of caution because it's usually safer that way. So it doesn't matter what breed of house dog you're working with. That is really not the wild card in this. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about a Chihuahua or if you're talking about a Cane Corso. Obviously, if your house dog is a more aggressive type dog, that might change things a little bit. But on the whole, it doesn't really matter what breed your house dog is. And you have to understand the mindset of a livestock guardian dog, which is that they can be just a more intense variety of dog. So I'm going to refer just to the Anatolian Shepherd dog because that's what we breed, that's what we deal with. And they are on, if you had a spectrum of intensity for livestock guardian dogs, they are going to be on that higher end of the spectrum of intensity. So the way that I like to describe them is almost military in their thinking. They like things to be very status quo. They like things to be in order, the rules followed, protocols followed. They like it the same every day, all the time. And they take very little crap from anything. That's just the way that they are. They like things just so. So if you're bringing in a puppy, for instance, oh wow, I got a mess back here. If you're bringing in a puppy, that's of course the easiest thing to do to introduce to an existing guardian dog. Because as a puppy, they're smaller, they're just more naive to the situation. So that will be just like bringing in, when they're puppies anyway, any other puppy, okay? However, as they age and mature, you will eventually start seeing those livestock guardian traits pop up. So eventually, and it might be 2 years down the road, this is my hot dew. This is my hot barn dew. You will eventually, as they reach maturity, and you could start seeing these things from 6 to 8 months, or you might not see these behaviors pop up until they're like 2 or anywhere in between. But they will eventually start displaying those behaviors of, look, we got a job to do and I'm not dealing with your garbage. So if your house dog is like silly and fun and let's jump and play and have a good time, and maybe when that dog was a puppy, excuse me, and you brought it in, maybe the puppy was like, yeah, this is fun, somebody else to run and play with. But then when your livestock guardian dog reaches maturity and that house dog is still like, oh, I have energy and let's play, that livestock guardian dog is eventually going to be like, look, playtime's over, buddy, listen here. So you'll see a lot where all of a sudden people will be like, my Anatolian was so good and all of a sudden he attacked my whatever. Well, he didn't all of a sudden just flip the script. He just finally is like, I'm done with your shenanigans. I'm a serious animal. We have a job to do here, and I don't have time for your carrying on and your nonsense. So you will see that happen. 9 times out of 10, as that livestock guardian dog gets older and reaches maturity. So something to keep an eye on down the road. So one of our house dogs is an Irish Wolfhound mix. He was exposed to not great things in his younger years. So he is, if he was a person, I would explain that he's like on the spectrum. So like he has a really hard time reading social cues. He thinks everybody is just like his best friend, and he just does not pick up on dog's body language. So they're warning him like, okay, we've had enough, and he just is so extra all the time. He doesn't get that. So some of our livestock guardian dogs, if they happen to be in the house for whatever reason with him, some will be very patient with him and give him several warnings that, look, I've about had it. And some of them, like, you don't get a warning. Like, you should just know that we don't act like idiots around here. So I have to kind of watch who he's exposed to. So that's something that can happen. So if you bring, a livestock guardian dog in and it's a puppy, it's going to be a lot easier for you because they probably will get along for, could be a while, could be 6 months, 8 months, a year, 2 years, but chances are eventually they'll be like, one day, look, we're done with your shenanigans. Okay. Now, if you're bringing in an adult and you're trying to introduce an adult livestock guardian dog to an existing house dog, that can be dicey, and that's not always going to work out for you because that adult LGD is already mature. Their characteristics and their personalities and everything is already developed and at the forefront. And your house dogs, obviously the exact same thing. So you're trying to bring two in together, and they might rub well next to each other, or they really may not. So you want to really walk cautiously when doing that. And that you would do any, like, I've got a lot of videos on how to introduce adult dogs to each other. You want to do it in a neutral area, on neutral ground. It could be a park, it could be in a driveway, it could be anywhere. And then just a handler on each, and just very slow. Do not just throw your livestock guardian dog adult in your house with your existing house dog, because that could end in a bloodbath. It might go fine, or it might not. Or at first it might seem to go okay, and then all of a sudden something happens and they decide to flip the script. And we miss a lot of body language that dogs give because they can be very subtle. It can be just a little side eye. It can be the flick of a tail. It can be all these little things that we miss until it gets to growling, and then we notice. You just have to really, really watch, because you may not realize that that adult livestock guardian dog you brought in, they decide they're going to guard you for whatever reason. They're watching over you. And then all of a sudden your house dog tries to climb up on the couch next to you, like they always do. But that adult LGD doesn't maybe know that. And they're like, what are you doing on the couch? And the subtle cues that maybe you had been missing all of a sudden turns into a bam, and then you notice. And so that can be ugly sometimes. So as puppy introductions are way easier, of course, than adult to adult. If you do try to do that adult to adult, do it very slowly, take your time. And I wouldn't say that it's, the adult livestock guardian dog's fault. I don't like to say that, well, that one's just too aggressive and that's just not going to work, because they all have that potential. All those instincts are the same. They're all ingrained the same. And one that appears aggressive may just be demonstrating more outwardly what they're probably all feeling internally, which eventually usually comes forward eventually. So I just say be very, very cautious with that. Remember, your livestock guardian dogs should be being used as working dogs. So they should be gotten with the purpose of working. So introducing them together is fine, but also remember that the goal should be to have them out and working and doing their thing. that should be. And always, always, I always warn people, never allow your house dogs to be in the same working area as your livestock guardian dog. So my house dogs are never allowed out in the pens, pastures, fields with my working livestock guardian dogs, because that is almost a guaranteed problem that is going to happen sooner, probably, rather than later, because the LGDs see that as, this is my area, this is my space to guard and watch and work, and anything that enters that area is game on. So, and that's even a house dog that they know and maybe have been comfortable with, but you bring that into my territory and it's gonna be a whole nother ball game there. So be very, very cautious with that. That's not something we ever allow. We don't allow anything out in those working fields with that dog. So yeah, that's kind of my generalization on how to introduce, things to be careful for, things to watch for. If you have any more questions, don't be afraid to drop them in the comments below. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Of course, that makes me able to make more content and bring more stuff to you guys, educational bits and all that kind of stuff. If you hit the subscribe button, click it, click that bell, make sure that all notifications are on so you don't miss anything. And if you follow my link tree, which is usually in my profile, then you'll get access to all kinds of, you'll see where my Patreon is. You can subscribe to that, where you get tons of extra supplemental stuff that I don't cover in here. You'll be able to get access to Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, where I do tons of stuff. Amazon wish list, which helps our family as my husband's going through cancer. Just all kinds of fun stuff that you can check out for us. So thanks for watching. We'll come back at you soon, hopefully at a time that's a little more chill and you don't have to watch me do my hair in the morning. Thanks, guys.